Okay. Seeing a few people joining us already. Hi, everybody. Just double checking the live. And as always, I will have to turn on the volume. Turn off the volume rather. So I will not hear myself talking. Give me a few sec. Okay, just making sure that we are able to cover everything on the back end, but looks like we did. So allow me to greet you guys. Hello, and thank you for those joining us live. Welcome for another Hotline Support Hour. And also, of course, to those of you who will be catching the recording wherever platform you find us, good day to you, whatever time of day. Okay, so yeah. And as always, we want our sessions to be interactive. So at any point of the discussion, you can use the comment section for our live viewers. And again, for the people who will be watching the replay, use the comment section and our team will respond to you. And I think the cat of Maria is also saying hi. Yeah, it's fun to see pets in the background. Okay, so today we're talking about abandoned cart follow up. So basically, what happens when someone shows interest but doesn't finish the next step. So there will be a demo that Maria will be doing later. But just imagine right now, somebody started fill out a form, or they visited an order page. If you don't have that, make sure that you have that specific page. But anyway, and then they clicked on your checkout page, then they started looking, browsing, but then they left. They did not actually click that button that was that's the final step to purchase or to buy something. Okay, so the important thing to remember is that doesn't always mean that they're not interested anymore, because sometimes we get distracted. Maybe it happens to you, you're on your phone and you received a call, or something happened to your kid if you have a kid. Or sometimes you have a question before you finalize your purchase, or sometimes you just wanted to compare options, check your calendar if it's a booking, or even talk to someone before you actually proceed, or sometimes you just simply run out of time. So today's session is about the question: how do we make sure that those people don't just disappear if they did not complete the process? Okay, so think of an abandoned workflow as a follow-up system. When someone gets partway through the process but doesn't complete it, Growth Genie 360 can help you follow up automatically. That follow-up could be a simple quick reminder, hello, or it can be a helpful message. There can also be a link to the page when they see that on their email or text message, or even an invitation to reply if they had trouble finishing the transaction. It's to make sure that it's easier for someone who is already interested to come back and finish what they started. You also have to think about this one. Getting someone to that point, where they are ready to buy, has already taken you effort. You probably paid for an ad, you posted the content, you sent out the email, you built the page, or even had a conversation to get them there to that point. So if they make it all the way to the form or to your order page and then drop off, that is not just a random website visit. Okay. That is someone who was close to taking action. And without follow up, sadly, they may never come back because they forget about it. But with a simple abandoned cart workflow, you can give them a helpful reminder while the interest is still fresh. Okay, so of course, the benefits will be completed purchases. If that's a calendar, you'll have more, or if that's an appointment, you'll have more booked calls, you'll have more submitted forms, and of course, fewer missed opportunities. Okay. So basically, the idea for what we're going to show you today is to help interested people come back. It's also to make follow-up process easier on your team and to create a smoother experience for your customer. All right. So let's now move from idea or from the idea into the actual setup. I'm turning it over to Maria.
Thank you, Diana. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and send the request to share my screen. Okay, and then let me pick the correct screen because I have a lot of things open right now.
That's life.
Alrighty, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
your screen.
Okay, awesome. Alrighty, well, hello everybody. I am going to be doing a little demo on how to set up an abandoned cart workflow. So first of all, you have to log into your Growth Genie 360 account, of course, and then you do have to make sure that you have an e-commerce website set up. If you need help with that, feel free to hit us up on the group, and we would be happy to help you set that up. And then, so now that we're here in the automations area, we are going to do two workflows. So this is a good place to kind of stop and remind you to organize yourselves. So as you can see, we have a lot of folders right here, and we have our hotline test automations, but we're going to go ahead and be working on abandoned cart automations that are going to require us two workflows. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a folder, and it's abandoned. That way we know where both of our automations for the abandoned cart are kind of like living, because it can be easy to lose your automations when you are not, constantly working on them. You might need to fix one or adjust one in the future, and then you're like, oh, which one was it? Alrighty. So just as a quick reminder, don't forget to do that. Okay, we're going to create a workflow, and we are going to create it from scratch. And as always, we want to name our workflow so that we don't lose it, we don't forget what it is. So we're going to name it abandoned cart follow-ups, okay? Alrighty, let's see. Okay, so our trigger is actually going to be abandoned checkout. And you can do an abandoned checkout when you have an e-commerce website. And now when you click on the trigger that says abandoned checkout, it lets you pick the duration in minutes. What that means, it's like the amount of time that your customer didn't make that purchase in which you'll follow up. So if it's like an hour since they abandoned the cart, then you're gonna put 60 minutes, okay? And then these follow-ups are going to start 60 minutes after that. So we're gonna go ahead and put 60 minutes for that, and we're gonna save our trigger, okay? Our next step will make sense in a little bit, but what we are going to do next is we are going to add a tag. Let's tag these customers as, I clicked on add task. Sorry about that. So we're going to add a contact tag, and it's going to be abandoned. Let's see. I know I have a tag on there. Maybe I misspelled it. There we go. So abandoned cart, that is going to be our tag that we are going to save. So anybody who's just kind of hanging out with items in their cart and hasn't made a purchase within those 60 minutes, we are going to add a tag of abandoned cart. And then this is our next step. So this is all happening again after 60 minutes, and you can control the time that you want these to go out in the abandoned checkout area. So what's going to happen is that we are going to send out an email, and this is going to send out the email to the customer that was planning on purchasing and left their their cart, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to add some text on here, and we can have it be like you can either make it personal by saying, hey, it's Maria from Growth Genie 360. Or you can just make it the name of the company. So whatever is best. And then your subject, you want it to be something fun, like, hey, you forgot these. Alrighty. And then we're gonna add some text. And then of course we want to use our custom values, contact and first name, but you can also make it a little bit more generic. So if you're not sure if the client has even put their name in the purchase area, or you this is a new person, you can also just put like, hey there, hey there, it's kind of cute. It sounds like it's fine if you don't know their name. It looks like you started but didn't finish. You can complete your order here. And now you're wondering, well, how is this going to work? How am I going to send them to their abandoned cart if they already closed out the window? Well, there's actually a custom value for that. Okay. And that is called an abandoned. What is it called here? Give me just a sec because I had it and then I just forgot. Okay, yeah. So actually, the reason why it's not coming up is because we're like in the contact area. So abandoned cart checkout. Hold on. All right, so abandoned checkout. So what happens is you scroll down and then you go to abandoned checkout and then you go to cart link. Okay, so now this is going to be replaced with the link of the person who abandoned the cart. So if they had 3 items on there, when they click on it, it's going to send that out. All right. So we're gonna save that, and then you can also send a text with a similar follow-up. Let's see. Let's just copy this right here. You can make it a little bit shorter, something that is a little bit more text, like that's super easy to read. And you can just put the link right there, and it'll also lead them to their, their abandoned cart. All right. And then if you're thinking, well, what if I don't have their number? It's okay. Set it up just in case to send them out a text. If you don't have the number of the person, the potential lead, then it's not going to send it out. Alrighty. So now our next step is going to be to create a condition, and we are going to wait. So you send these two communications, email and text, 60 minutes after the checkout. I would recommend that you create 2 more emails. That way you send out a total of 3 emails within like a 1 week period, trying to encourage your client to complete the purchase. So I would say wait about 2 days. So we're going to click the action wait, and we're not going to do a time delay. Okay. We're actually going to do a condition. So if we scroll down a little bit right here, you'll see condition. Okay. And then what is my condition? The condition is that if it includes a tag, and then you're going to scroll down all the way, tags, and includes abandoned cart, and then your timeout. So timeout is how much time we're going to wait. So we said, hey, wait 3 days to send them a follow-up email. So we're going to do, this is what our timeout is, 3 days, and then we're going to save. And that is going to include a branch. So this is what happens if the client is still tagged as an abandoned cart. We are going to follow up with them again and send them a follow-up email. You don't want it to be exactly the same thing. I'm just copying it for, time's sake. And you can send them an email, you can send them a text, and then you can add something like, hey, we have this coupon for you, 10% off or 5% off, or purchase $50 and then you get $5 off or something like that. You can add a little coupon code for them to make it a little bit more enticing to come back and purchase. And it doesn't matter how small it is. People just like coupons and they like discounts. So even if it's 5%, I feel like, I'd be like, oh, that's a couple dollars off. Why not? Alrighty. So what happens right here? What is this branch for? So this is the timeout. So we're gonna wait 3 days, and then we're gonna check if it has that tag. And if it doesn't have that tag, that means the client purchased. And so you're not going to send them reminders because they already purchased, and you're just going to take them out of the workflow. And what you can do is that you can either put them on like another newsletter workflow where you have like your newsletters, if you already have them all laid out, if you have any other type of like long-term nurture workflow, if you want these people to buy again, because it could be like a situation where you're selling, I don't know, something like soaps or anything like that, or you can just leave it as is. Alrighty. And then what are we gonna do after this is, okay, we're gonna basically do the same thing. We're gonna go to wait again. And just a quick reminder, we do this on the side of the person who's tagged abandoned cars. So that means they still haven't purchased. All right. So we're gonna go and do the condition. And then we are going to do the tags, includes, and then we're going to do our abandoned cart. All right. And basically we're doing the same thing. We're checking to see if before we send that, oh, oops, okay, I didn't do my timeout. And that's going to be, let's do another 3 days. Okay. All right. So, and that's going to do the same thing that we did here. It's basically going to check, do they still have the abandoned cart tag? That means they haven't purchased. If they don't have it anymore, that means they purchased. So we're going to send them out of the workflow. We're going to tell them, okay, we're not going to follow up with you anymore. And then if they still have it, then we're going to send one final email, and then we're going to add them to our long-term, what's it called? Hold on. Let's do one thing at once. One thing at a time, not like three. All right, so we're going to send them a final follow-up, and it's not going to be the same text. Again, it's going to be something like, maybe it can be something a little bit more personal, like, hey, this is Maria reaching out from Growth Journey 360. Don't miss your chance to purchase the items in your cart before they expire. Provide them an exclusive coupon if you'd like, or anything else that you would like to offer, or simply just say, hey, like, don't forget. And then you want to send them that email. And if they don't purchase, you want to add them to your you probably want to add them to your long-term nurturing sequence. Okay. So if you want to do that, you can. You don't have to. It's just like a fun extra step. Like, hey, they haven't purchased after a week, so let's add them to our workflow so that they can get nurturing emails and then eventually, hopefully, become a client of yours. All right. And then again, the next one is the timeout. That means they purchase and you don't have to do anything for them. All righty. And look at that. Just caught that. Okay. So that is the end of our workflow, but it doesn't end there. Okay. Because we have a lot of conditions that, like the workflow is checking whether the client has that tag. We added that tag at the beginning. And as you notice, we haven't done anything to remove it or anything else so that it can, that the system can detect whether the client has purchased or not. At this point, if they purchase, it doesn't matter. They're going to keep going over to the non-purchase sequence unless you set something up. The system is not going to automatically remove that tag. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we save our workflow, and then we're going to go back to workflow list. Alrighty, and then we're going to create a brand new workflow inside of our little abandoned cart automations folder to make sure that everything is organized and clean so that we don't get confused. And we're going to start a new workflow. And we'll call this the remove abandoned cart. Alrighty, so this has to be its own workflow because at any time somebody could be purchasing or making a purchase on your website. So the trigger is going to be, it's not going to be payment received. It is going to be, what is it called? Order submitted. Okay. Order submitted. That is going to be your, yes. Or it could be, so it could either be order submitted or order form submission. So either one is going to be, let's do the order form submission. And we don't have to add any filters, but if you want to do like, hey, website, and then you kind of like narrow down where like the checkout page is, etc., then we can do that. So oops, let's go ahead and do that and save our trigger. Alrighty, so this is going to detect when somebody makes a purchase. And what happens when somebody makes a purchase? We are going to remove our tag. Remove our contact tag that says abandoned cart. Oh my goodness. I'm like messing that up. Okay. Abandoned cart, and we are going to click save. So now after you publish this enables to, if somebody had an abandoned cart and then eventually they did make a purchase, then it's going to remove the tag automatically, making it so that they don't get stuck on the abandoned cart follow-ups that we created previously on this in this demonstration. Do you have any questions so far, Diana? Still have a few things to show.
No, all good at the
Okay.
all clear at this point.
Okay, awesome. So this is the way to do it if you want to have more control over how many times you send something out. If you want to have control over whether you want to send text messages, there is another way to set this up, and I'm going to show you. The system actually comes with a customer notification for abandoned cards, but this is super simple. It only sends it once. Okay, it only sends it out once, and you don't really have a lot of customization. It works like if you're like, okay, let's get the setup first and then we'll work on our big automation. And what happens is you go to payments. Okay, so you're going to go to payments and then you're going to go to settings, and then in settings you go to notification and customer notification, and you just want to toggle this on. And just so you are aware, this is usually set up to be turned off, so you do have to come in and toggle it on. And then you pick your email template and you add your subject, and then you kind of let everything else, like the system do its own thing. You can send that after minutes, hours, days, or months. And this is just something that you can do super quickly. We always recommend that you do the workflow because you have more control over the information that you send. You can send text messages, you can make it a little bit more personable, and you can do multiple follow-ups. Alrighty. And just so that I can show you kind of how this works, let me give you an example, okay? So this is an actual real life website that we helped someone create. And this is their e-commerce website that they use to sell these handmade organic products, okay? So what happens is that, let's see, we go to products right here, and I'm gonna put something in my cart. All right. View cart. And then maybe I'm in the checkout and then I'm not I don't know. Sometimes I go to checkout to see if they have how much the shipping costs or if I have to meet a threshold or something. Uh, you know, just like how we like to do. Oh, I don't
Just
know why I
checking
added
in the
that.
information, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, just kind of checking in. Like maybe sometimes I like to pay via Apple Pay, and it's like, do they accept Apple Pay? Sometimes people don't accept Apple Pay. So that means I got to go get my card and,
Mm-hmm.
have it ready.
Mm.
So people do this all the time. So we'll go Maria and then my phone number. We'll do all right. And then I'm gonna leave because I had something to do and I'm gonna abandon my cart. All righty. And I'm gonna show you the email that I received really quick. And because I did try this yesterday so that I could kind of give you guys like a look at what that email looks like. So here's a super simple enabled cart abandoned cart follow-up. So it says complete your purchase. Hey, we noticed that you forgot some amazing products in your shopping cart. Please complete your purchase when you're ready. And then it gives me the little click so that I can return to my cart and make my purchases. All right. And then another way that you can see, like maybe you're like, oh, who has anybody abandoned their cart? Like if you're actively checking how you can follow up with people individually or maybe in a separate way, if you go to orders right here, you go to abandoned checkouts, and that actually shows you who has an abandoned cart. And it also shows you if eventually you recovered it. So if they eventually made a purchase, it'll show you, hey, you actually recovered the purchase. Okay, so this is why it's important to have these follow-ups for abandoned carts, because you never know if you can regain a client by simply putting out a 5% discount, or by just doing follow-ups, because sometimes we forget people are busy, they have a lot of things to do. If you have kids, you're probably super busy, and you're probably in the middle of something, and somebody needs to do something, and somebody needs you for something, so you have to drop your current purchase. And follow-ups are super great to keep people engaged in the the buyer's process. Alrighty. And then one final thing I do want to show you guys, because we did talk about this a lot today. We talked about coupons, and you can create coupons within the system. So I'm going to show you how to create a coupon inside of GrowGenie 360. Okay, so
Yay,
you still stay
bonus
in,
for today.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, a little
bonus for
bonus.
today. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So you're gonna go to payments and then we're gonna go to coupons up here at the very top as you can see coupons. And then you can also do like a lot of really fun things. So uh, we can get into it later on. Okay, so now we're gonna create a coupon. This is where all your coupons live. All right, so just to give you kind of like a little rundown on the coupons, here's your coupon name. This is your internal coupon. So if you're doing this for abandoned cards, you just call it whatever you want to make sure that you are aware, like what is this? And then you can also make your own coupon code. So if you want it to be like, I don't know, come back 10, you can do that. And you can also generate just a random code so that you can send that out to your customers, okay? And the coupon type, we have two options. We have the percentage option, which makes sense, just like $10 or 10% off or 50% off or anything like that. All right. You can also do 100% off if you're trying to, I don't know, if you're like dealing with like friends. This customer specifically with the Green Garden Body Care, she does a lot of shows locally. And so she sometimes, I don't know, will do like coupons for her client, for her like family members or something like that. So you can do something like that. You can do 100% and they don't pay anything. Of course, don't do that as, you know, for your regular leads. And then percentage coupon is 50%. And then we also have the fixed coupon option. So if you want to do like a $10 off or $50 off, or if you purchase $200 worth of products, then you get a $10 off type of situation, you can do that. Alrighty. In this specific case, we're going to do a percentage for 10%. And then you can do your start date, and that's just going to be today. It's not going to let you go back. And you can also go like move forward. So if you're like kind of preparing all your coupons for, say, the quarter, and this coupon is not going to start until June, you can set it up for the start time date to be June 1st. And then you can do an end time. So if you only want it to last for like a certain amount of time, then you can do that. That way nobody else can use it. Or it could be there forever. You just don't add anything on there. Okay, and then we have to set up our coupon usage rules and restrictions. So if you want to limit the if you want to limit the time or the number of times this coupon can be redeemed, then you can do that. So if it's only once, which I don't recommend for the specific item, you can do that. Or you can just leave it to be redeemed as many times as you want, which is probably something that you want to do with abandoned cards, unless you want to keep coming in and creating new coupons every time. All right. So limit to selected products on which the coupon can be applied is another. It's another option. So if you just wanted to, I don't know, we're gonna browse the products here. So if you just want the coupon to work on charcoal soaps, that's it. Then you can set that up here. Okay, and it's not just one item. You can do a lot of different items. So if you wanted to just work on the rosemary bar soaps and the charcoal soaps, then that's something that you can add. Alrighty, in this case, because we are doing an abandoned cart coupon, you don't have to set that up. And then limit use once per customer. This means that other people, like the same people that are going to be purchasing, they're not going to be using this coupon code multiple times. And this is very handy for these type of coupons. And Growth Genie 360 is your website is going to be detecting the IP number. And that's how they like kind of track who is. It's not. I don't know. It tracks who is on like your website and like how many people, if they've been there before, it'll detect that. So you can limit the use to once per customer if you'd like. And then recurrent payments, this is probably something that you want to toggle off because this is for subscriptions. So you can set up a subscription where, if you wanted to send like the soap of the month or something like that, you can do that. And this is a coupon specifically for subscriptions that you can either last forever or limited number of months. So if you just want to do like, get like a discount for 3 months or something like that, that's something that you can do. And then you just click create here at the very bottom. And you grab your little coupon code and you add it to your abandoned cart follow-ups, your emails that you created. And that is how you send out, your little coupons for your clients to use and to encourage them to come back to uh, make their purchase. Let me just double check here and make sure I've got everything that I need. Alrighty, so that's it for the demo, but some common mistakes that I want to teach you is, like don't let your interesting buyers disappear. Always follow up with a set of emails and text messages um, when they have an abandoned cart. Okay, so don't another mistake is sending reminders without the purchase link. If you're sending them reminders, they might forget what they purchased, especially if you have a lot of products on your website. So you want to send that abandoned checkout cart link. That way, it can take them straight back to the items that they had on their cart. Waiting too long to follow up. I know that we have the option to make it so that you can follow up with as long as you want. We looked at the back end of the orders, abandoned checkouts, and it said like months. That's too long. Don't wait that long to follow up with somebody. Make it like a day. Make it like a few hours. You don't want to wait months. They're gonna forget about you. Number four is sounding too pushy or urgent. You want to make sure that your emails have a friendly tone that encourages them to finish the purchase. You don't want to threaten them or anything like that. And then, of course, number five is forgetting to stop the workflow after purchase, which you can do with that second workflow we created, the remove abandoned cart tag. So that's a very, very important piece of the puzzle because you don't want your customers that have already purchased to be getting abandoned cart emails. Alrighty, your best practice today is going to be to follow up quickly, keep the message helpful, and make returning to the purchase easy. All right, that is all I have for today.
Thank you so much, Maria. That has been so helpful. And I'm currently looking at the community for questions. We're going to wait a few seconds if there will be questions that we can address.
Okay.
And yeah, so while we're doing that, I just wanted to also point out, wait, that this does not have to be a huge, complicated automation. So Maria has shown you something. You might be thinking, oh, there's kind of like two, and then there's logic and so on. A simple follow-up, even that can help. Just remember the basic idea. Someone has shown interest, they did, and then that someone, they do not finish. And of course, the system just wait a little bit. And as Maria has said, don't wait too long. And then after waiting a little bit, the system will be sending a reminder with the right link, with the right message. And then if your contact or if the potential customer completes the purchase, then the workflow stops. Okay, it doesn't have to be another thing going on. So that alone can make a big difference. And the key is making the follow up timely, useful, and easy to act on. Okay. While we're waiting for questions to come in, do you have any final thoughts, Maria?
Not necessarily about what we talked of, about this
Mm-hmm.
today's subject, but there are so many fun things that you can do with an e-commerce store, and this is the first time that we touched on it, so it's really exciting. So if you need help setting up your e-commerce store, don't forget to reach out to us. We're happy to help you and answer any questions for setup.
Yeah. I mean, that alone, where you are able to view the status or of the abandoned carts, if they actually finished it or not, that alone is a big help.
Yeah.
Okay, so looks like we are not having any questions for today. But then again, that doesn't mean you cannot reach out to us. We know business owners are very busy people and they're not always there at the moment. So, but we know that our community they're viewing. these videos. So don't be shy to ask any questions, either related to this topic or anything that's regarding the system or your own setup. If you also have any idea or any kind of like things that you, or any process or any system that you feel like, I want to automate this, we can always take a look at that. Because at the end of the day, Grow Genie 360 is for that. It's a tool to help you set up system in your businesses, and most especially to automate that, so that you'll be more focused on the bigger things, the strategic things that will move your business forward. Okay, and a quick note as we wrap up. Once again, if you are watching this recording sometime after today, and then you notice that what Maria has shown is a little bit different from what you are seeing on your screen, don't panic. That's completely normal, because Grow 360 is an ever evolving platform. The system continues to improve, update features, sometimes even layouts, but not huge, that you don't recognize it anymore. Don't worry about that. But it just keeps on updating to better support businesses. Okay, so but while the exact buttons or options may shift, the core strategies and systems that we covered here will still apply. Okay, let me check once again just to make sure, no, that we're taking care of everybody over here. But it looks like we're good to end our session here. Thank you so much to our live viewers. And of course, to those who will be watching this later on, thanks for giving us your time. And see you again in our next session, always Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, finding the button
Thank you.
for the live stream, stopping the live stream. Bye bye.